Today I'd like to talk about historical precedents for environmental regional landscape planning. The overall concept of the lecture is to first present a brief historical overview of regional landscape planning in the United States, and then secondly to talk about landscape plans and landscape planners from 1785 to the present, again in the United States. I'm going to divide the temporal analysis into three time periods. First is 1785 to 1900, second is 1900 to 1930, and the third is 1930 to the present. Regional landscape planning draws much of its heritage from late 19th century professions of city and regional planning and landscape architecture. At the turn of the century, in 1898, critical questions in the field of city and regional planning focused on whether planning is about physical planning, making beautiful and functional cities, or social planning, making things easier, safer, healthier, more enjoyable, more efficient for people living in urban areas. There were three sets of participants in conversations at this particular point in time. First is a group of architects and landscape architects who tended to view the city as built environment, and their focus then was on planning and design of built environment in urban areas. A second group of people focused on public health issues. These were principally sanitarians and civil engineers, consumed with provision of infrastructure, public health, and disease prevention. And finally, there were a group of social workers who sought to improve the lives of people living in urban areas, providing appropriate and clean housing for urban residents, spaces for children to play, and light and fresh air for all residents. Contemporary perspective suggests that it's not either physical or social planning, because we now have two additional dimensions of planning to think about. One is economic development planning, and the other is institutional design for plan implementation. Economic development focuses on developing a spatial framework for regional economic growth and development, and institutional design for planning for plan implementation focuses on making stuff happen, developing standards and codes for physical and social planning and economic development, developing land use regulations and implementation standards. Contemporary perspectives suggest that all four of these, physical, social, economic development, and institutional design, have been incorporated into a comprehensive and strategic planning perspective that integrates physical, social, economic development, and policy planning. Contemporary perspectives then, in this class, we're going to focus on physical planning and institutional design for plan implementation. Regional landscape planning involves land use planning as if nature and community values mattered. There are four principal issues: planning sustainable and resilient environmental systems at landscape and regional scales, identifying the mix of land uses desired for a particular locale, spatial allocation of desired land uses in the landscape based upon environmental characteristics, and public policy tools to implement regional landscape plans. Regional landscape planning involves land use planning with a focus on sustaining and resilient environmental systems and functions at the landscape and regional scale, not at the site scale. We can construe geographic scale as ranging from, on the one hand, the individual site or the individual ecosystem, to, on the next hand, dealing with the landscape, multiple ecosystems, and region dealing with multiple landscapes.